Hello YouTube. So my name is Ankit and in this video we'll be talking about a tool NIKTO, that's a web vulnerability scanner. And in this video we'll create a setup first and then I'll try and run NIKTO, that's again the web vulnerability scanner. Okay, so in this setup what we are trying to do is we are trying to make a setup wherein we'll have two virtual machines in a virtual box that's being provided by Oracle, and we have Kali Linux as our attacking machine where we'll be running our web scanner, and Metasploitable being where we have hosted our websites. And why we have done that, because we cannot just go out and scan anybody's website because it is not legal, and we being ethical hackers will need to scan websites that either we own or are used for testing purposes. So for the same purpose we have our Kali Linux working here, and the other where everything is hosted is the Metasploitable machine. So I'll show you once what's actually there in Metasploitable before we proceed further. So yeah, so so first let's see what's the IP of this particular machine that's hosted. So we see the IP is 10.0.2.4. So we go out and check in Kali Linux, that's on the same NAT network 10.0.2.4, and we see Metasploitable 2 that's being hosted, and we are able to ping to it. So yeah, we have twiki, phpMyAdmin, Multilde, dvwa, webdev, and services being hosted. So we'll try and find vulnerabilities in each of the web application, right? So I think now is the time that we start and introduce NIKTO. So NIKTO is a CLI tool in Kali Linux that's being provided by Kali Linux as a default tool, and we run the very first command NIKTO -h -h that gives us all the information about the tool, and we can see that there are multiple flags that's being provided by the tool, ask plus and CGI directories. If there's a CGI directory publicly available, or we can see that, then there's a possibility of vulnerabilities out there. Then we can check databases, we can save files as the plugins available in NIKTO. Then a lot of cool stuff that we can do with the tool, right? So now we'll start with scanning the website, right? So now we have already seen that we have DVWA being hosted, right? So what we'll do is I'll just log into the application with the admin as the username, password as password, and we're into the application. What we'll do is we'll run our vulnerability scanner against DVWA and see how things work. So we have the command nikto dash slash, or rather hyphen h, and the IP of the machine that's being hosted, and we run our tool. Okay, so we have our NIKTO version 2.1.6 because it could not resolve to the host name, so it's particularly not running. Let us try with this particular URL. Yeah, so when we run against the same command, so yeah, we see server on which server it is being hosted, it's Apache 2.2.8. See, it's information disclosure when we see direct versions being disclosed, being exposed in to the public, and maybe Apache 2.2.8 already has some CVEs. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just see whether it has or not, right? So again, in the browser we'll copy the version of the version being disclosed and see if the common vulnerabilities are exposed or not. If they are, then it's a vulnerability because that can be exploited. So a Google search with the keyword CVE does the job, right? So I think there's something wrong with the connection. Nothing like that. So yeah, So if you look at the CV details for this particular version of Apache and see, we have particular CV IDs with the score 7.5. That's too much. 7.5 out of 10 is a huge vulnerability. And if the this website is hosted on our server, if it was supposed to be on a remote server, then we would have exploited and gained a lot of information out of it. So let's get back to the vulnerability scanner and see what it has to offer. It says cookie PHP SES session ID without the HTTP only flag. So yeah, these are the suggestions and high, you know, necessary things that are to be there in the website. And then he says the X XSS protection header is not defined. So somewhere down the line, it's a statement that this application is vulnerable to XSS. XSS is cross-site scripting. So how about we go back to our application and look at, and we try to exploit. So I've already done it, so let's see something really cool stuff here. But I'll show you how XSS is being exploited. So let's run a very simple JavaScript code. There's nothing malicious in it, but yes, if we can run our JavaScript code at the client side, then yes, obviously you can run your malicious code and get a lot of information out of the web application. So we see our JavaScript code being running, and yes, as it was rightly scanned by our vulnerability scanner, that we have found XSS in the web application. All right. So I would like to tell you a lot more features other than just scanning the website, because it has got a lot of flags. This particular tool has a lot of flags. The other command that we'll look at in this video is NIKTO -h, the site name. So I think I just need to copy it again from right. So what we'll do is, we have it here, and rather I'll just copy it from the terminal. We have the same command, but we'll provide we can also provide different ports, right, like 443. But since it's on localhost and it only supports port 80, so what we do is I try to do it on another website of mine. I own it and I've been working for this client. So this is what we try with the port 443 and see what results it gives. So yes, again NIKTO version 2.1.6 is running, and we see the Cloudflare ciphers that it uses. It's the cipher suite, and then we have the certificate issuer, the subject of the SSL information. Then we have it's being hosted on Cloudflare, so it does not give a lot of information out. Then we have XSS protection header that's not defined. Again, that is something is to be looked at, and we need to check and fix these vulnerabilities. Then I'll stick to the scope of this video, and then I'll look at one other command that is to be looked at. Is I'll just open another terminal window and show you the command, because I think that is supposed to take a little time. Okay, so next command that I would like to run would be the same. We have NIKTO -h, then I'll specify the URL 10.0.2.4. then okay, so it requires HTTP, right? So I'll type in the HTTP protocol again, then dbwa, then index.php. Then the output file that it is supposed to have, right? So we give the name output to the file, and it is, say, any file. It's file.txt. So yeah, so it will run all the find vulnerabilities, and then it will keep the output in in the file itself in the terminal window, and we'll have it in. Okay, so now we see the file.txt being created in the desktop, and when once the NIKTO scanner will complete its work, and then we'll see the data, the same that's being printed on the terminal in the file.txt. So again, we have one more command that comes handy when we are trying to scan the websites. Is right now we are telling the web application or the server that it's me pinging the website. Rather, what we would want to do is we would like to change the user agent to Google's bot, and tell that no, it's Google's bot who's crawling the website and finding vulnerabilities. It's basically changing the user agent. So we can use this to our advantage by using the following command to mimic a Google bot. So how will we do that? We'll do it in this fashion. We'll type in the command nikto-host, and again the site name ayroyal.com. That's the site that's I'm responsible for building it. Then we have another Google bot. That's what we'll need to specify, that it's Google bot and it's not me who's scanning the website. Then what I'll do is I'll tell the particular command, and then I'll tell like it's Google bot, and then the version 2.1. then I'll tell that it's http. Again, sorry for the typo, http and google.com. I forgot to mention www. I'm sorry for the typo again, google.com, and then I'll specify that no, it's not google.com, it's the bot. Okay, so that command works, and then it's again the NIKTO version 2.1.6 with this particular target IP port 80. We can change the port as we have already seen. So the user agent can be set in nikto.conf file from NIKTO version 2.1.5 and further, and on a command line from NIKTO 2.1.6. So this command will set a Google crawler user agent. You can use any custom HTTP header and user agents you want. However, for this tutorial I've kept it very simple and I've used Google's crawler as an example, right? So keeping this further, one very popular command that I would want you to bring to your notice, because there's a lot more things are there in NIKTO, and NIKTO has a list of plugins that it supports. So by using this particular command nikto -list -plugins, it will list down all the plugins that NIKTO supports. Okay, so here I see NIKTO supporting a good amount of plugins. That's right, plugin MS10, plugin pass, shell shock, report HTML, report CSV. It brings down every report in either CSV or HTML and policies like that. And this is what you could further use and take leverage of, right? So yes, so this is testing our tool, and we are taking it further, and this is actually vulnerable to XSS, and that is why this particular website roothacker.ihostful is hosted under my name. My name is Ankit again, and we have hosted it for only for true educational purposes, and it contains XSS, so that is why a lot of XSS cross-site scripting vulnerabilities are being listed here. In fact, you can go out and learn XSS on our particular tool, right? So if I stop the versioning here, so I'm not sure if the file.txt has to show content. Yes, it has all the information that's was being printed, right? So now what we do is we have learned a lot of commands up till now, and with this I close down here, and I hope it was a learning session, and I'm sure you'll stick to us. We have a lot of content coming out. Have a good day. Bye bye.